touchdowns.
22.
Oof.
22 and a half.
Did you ever see that tweet, Drew? I'm going to start with some NBA content, as you often do. Did you ever see that tweet about how Karl Anthony Towns gets pumped up by watching gorillas beat each other to death?
I do.
Like
I remember that well.
That's what I'd imagine that video looks like. Is like this game.
There's a lot of people who attribute the T-Wolves' success this season to that strategy in particular. It does feel like watching one of those, yeah.
So, under no circumstance do I think it would be prudent, wise, responsible, or even anything along those lines to bet the second half. But we're going to talk about this game regardless. And Dallas's offense looks real good, and that's fun. But Christ Almighty, this Washington front cannot stop a pass rush, and he's having to get they're getting the ball back so quickly because they're just constantly getting pressure. Heineke's under constant duress. That's not going to change. It's you might not see some of these star pass rushers play the whole second half, but it's so bad up front here. Heineke's going to have issues in the second half still. I don't know if it's going to be Cooper Rush time and maybe Heineke doesn't even play the whole second half. So Lord knows what we're going to see in the second half.
Yeah, a lot of Charles Leno Jr. in this game, a lot of Eric Flowers in this game so far for the offensive line for Washington. I don't know. I think the Dallas D-line knows the snap count better than the replacement center.
They're getting off on this.
They're getting off so fast. I'm impressed. Diggs continues to get interceptions. I mean, he probably got to be close. Is he going to set the all-time record this season? Probably.
Yeah. And it's funny too. Like producer Dan pointed this out on Twitter. Like somebody asked about his PFF grade being kind of low. He's not that good of a corner. He's just
he's
very
opportunistic.
Good. He's great.
He's what we call a ball
hawk. Yeah. And it was a really shitty throw. You don't throw that inside shoulder when you have safety help and the corners shading to the inside. Like that was a horrible throw. But to be fair, he's great about getting his hands on the ball. How many times do you make that joke about these cornerbacks when they drop picks? Like, wow, that's why he's not a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Diggs could probably, like, if they need a wide receiver because they want to sit, their starters in the second half, maybe Diggs plays both ways.
Yeah, that's not bad. I would sit a lot of guys here if I'm Dallas. I'm not interested in getting anyone hurt at this point. This Washington Giants Washington sandwich that they've had really has not finally tuned them for the playoffs. They have games left against playoff caliber teams and Cardinals and Eagles. That's going to be a much tougher test for them than these last handful of games they've had. I will say it's good. If you're a good team, then you come into games like this where you have clear advantages and you exercise those to their fullest, and that's what they're doing. This is an absolute ass kicking. I will say that this is the pacing of this game is utterly brutal. It's taken us till 10 o'clock Eastern to get to halftime, and there's been a lot of commercial breaks, and it has not been a very high quality football game. Dallas getting whatever they want whenever they want. I would sit Dak. I don't think you need to put him in harm's way. There was a play kind of towards the end of the first half where a guy got him around the ankles, and it was like it wasn't a dirty hit at all, but it's like, you don't need Dak to get hit around the ankles. Not after what happened to him last year. He doesn't need to take shots down low. And to a degree, Washington defense, at least the D line hasn't quit. They're still playing with fire. I don't have a betting take on this one. It's a pick. Oh, Dallas is -0.5. Oof, Jesus Christ. Total 21. If you want to make a bet on this second half, I don't hate Washington football team total over, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
What's it
like? They score a touchdown?
It's going to be 10.5.
I mean, they need two touchdowns. They need 2 touchdowns to get it because they're not kicking field goals in this game.
Well, that's the thing. What is Washington playing for in the second half here? Like, did you do some big halftime speech like, "Hey, we gotta go out there and get some shit right. We gotta go figure. Let's treat the second half like a scrimmage. Let's try to go get some things right." And I mean, I talked about this a little before you got into the room. I talked about Dan. I said maybe some anytime touchdown scorers on like take some backups, some long shots for some on Washington too. Washington will be throwing the ball. They're not just gonna sit on this and while away and pout. So, like, if you can find some anytime touchdown scorers on some names that you don't hate, I got DraftKings up right now. God, do we not have? I'm not good at this because I don't ever use this because I'm not in Iowa. I'm sitting here in my office, but if they have the in-game anytime touchdown scores, like that would be something you could do.
Steven making the joke that we were making before we got live.
Yeah.
If you are a loved one is considering a second half bet on this game, operators at 1-800-GAMBLER are standing by. That is
Washington
true.
would this, and let's go out on a limb here, and let's say Washington loses their 9th game in the season.
Yes, that would make them at best 8-9 and clinch their win total under.
I would get 2 today, Washington and Detroit. So
nice.
I needed the Chargers to win that game against the Chiefs. I would have felt good.
Yeah.
Would have felt good.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the one game that COVID.
Andy, I'll tell you what, you were close, man. You were close with the Chargers and the Chiefs. It was a close call.
It was close with the Browns and the Chiefs.
Close with the Browns and the Chiefs, yeah. There were a lot of close calls this year. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this game. I guess
here's the bet.
We talked through okay. We talked through we talked through how the Dallas defense is kind of getting it done with some stuff that's not sustainable and may not manifest when they play better teams. Living by the turnover, that gave them a huge margin in this game, which really let the pass rush pin their ears back and change the dynamics a bit. I would not expect that to continue. If the narrative another week of Dallas defense is the best in the NFL kind of continues to crystallize, solidify, there'll be a way to take some action on that as we get into the playoff mix. Maybe this week, actually, even against the Cardinals. I'm not saying this makes me want to bet the Cardinals, but maybe the over in that game is a little bit more of a tickle. What was the current number on that?
Oh, I can pull that up.
Or what was the pregame number? Let's look. I bet you it was like 49-ish. It was.
I guess it's off the board, isn't it? We'd have to look.
It's off the board now. Yeah, it was 40. Yeah, it was 49. 50. If it opens 50.5, if as long as it's under 51 on the open, I think the over is a fair play.
And another thing Dan and I were talking about before you popped into the room, McCarthy is a bad coach. It's not showing tonight because the receivers are all catching the ball. The pass rush is getting to Heineke and they're getting the ball back quickly. So it hasn't mattered. He hasn't had to make any real important decisions. But in the NFC, we're saying LaFleur and Arians are good coaches. Cliff, McCarthy, and let's put the Eagles in. Eagles or Vikings or Saints. Sirianni and Zimmer are not good coaches. I guess the Saints would probably have a case. Where do you put McVay and Shanahan? Because I'm kind of in between on those guys.
I actually put McVay, Shanahan, and Arians all in kind of the middle class there because they have some pretty clear flaws in
I don't like Arians
preparation and game call.
I don't like Arians more as an end game, but Arians as a team manager and building this offense has become has been great.
Really solid coordinators under him. That's helpful. Yeah.
I mean, he plays to his team's strength. Like the fact that they throw the ball 80% of the time, it's like this is fine. Like there's a lot of coaches that wouldn't do that.
I almost think that's more Leftwich. I think that's more Leftwich even than Arians.
And I think that's where I like Arians is he's not he's a team manager type where he's giving Leftwich the leeway to say, if you want to throw the ball 75% of downs, fucking do it. It's working. This is fine. And then Sirianni, I'm a little out on. It's tough because it's been playing some bad opponents and then the young quarterback being a little squirrely. I'm not sure where I'm sitting on Sirianni right now.
Yeah. He's obviously passed the test of the unknown quantity he was coming into the season. He's got that team playing pretty well. I guess let me ask you a question. If you are submitting your awards ballot tonight, who's getting what? Go through the 7.
Oh, Max still rookie of the year, even though he
Okay.
had a bad day and Chase had yardage. But no one's talking about Chase. People are talking about T. Higgins.
Well,
Like,
Chase.
people are talking.
Yeah.
People are talking about Burrow. That he's just not getting the buzz today. Comeback player of the year, Dak probably slid back into the top of that. He
Yeah.
needed a bad game for Burrow to take that. MVP is Rodgers. Coach of the year is Zach Taylor. And then rookie.
You're voting for Zach Taylor?
No, I'm not. I'm not. You know what? Spreadopedia kind of brought up a case. Like the Chiefs haven't lost since October and kind of figured it out. Why not Andy Reid? Why isn't he ever getting buzz for this? I don't know who I'm giving. I don't know who I'd give Coach of the Year right now to.
I think even if the Chiefs get the 1 seed, the totality,
The expectations were so high.
Yeah, the expectations were high that the people's opinion of their season was it wasn't a success, even if they get the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's kind of what stinks about this. I don't know who I'd vote Coach of the Year. I'd say no Coach of the Year. No one gets one.
Wow. Okay, keep going.
You know what? If the Rams come back and win the division here, if they keep going, McVay's going to get some talk for it. For, overcoming, even though the Cardinals overcame themselves. And then what if the Titans do end up in the 1 seed? All of a sudden, he's probably getting talked too. I don't know. The Coach of the Year is up in the air. Defensive Player of the Year. God, can you give it to the rookie? It should never be Diggs. He's just not the best defensive player of the year.
He is, by my estimate, he's somewhere about 30th most important defensive player in football.
Yeah. I'd give it to Bosa, defensive player of the year. Aaron Donald fatigue is still thinking, Christ, he's still such a force. That guy could bust through a line he's fast like a much smaller man. That one's going to come down to it. I think you're going to need some counting stats the last 2 weeks from the guys who are in the race for that. Defensive Rookie of the Year was decided weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Parsons is such a runaway there. And then, I guess Watt's probably still in the equation. If Watt can get some counting stats here.
He did not show up today.
Yeah, that's the thing. Watt and Garrett didn't show today.
No.
And, I think LaFleur is probably deserving. If nothing else, he kept Rodgers on the team this year. That was if that was the only thing you did all year is got Rodgers to come play, then you deserve it because this team is now, the best team in the NFL by record. They are 12-3, a quiet 12-3.
Yeah. Yep. Doing just enough to cover teasers.
Yeah. Oof. I know. I was at the movies when that was happening. That was it was awful nice to come out and see they were up by 2. The nice part about the movie theaters, they show the football game in the lobby on the big screen when there's one on. Flores has had a nice little run.
Still I don't know. Need a lot to go right for him.
Yeah.
To be the guy
I think he needed to be more. It needed to be early and talk about, hey, they could win the division.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all interesting. I'm just curious. I don't have strong takes one way or the other.
No. I mean, it's a bunch of good coaches. None of them have been and you can say the same thing about LaFleur. I think LaFleur is a fine coach. But when you have Aaron Rodgers and you were favored to win the division and your win total was what it was, you probably got to win out. A 14 game win season would help a lot.
Especially if you're the only team. You're the only team in the NFL that wins 14 games.
Yeah, if you have the most wins, if you're the 1 seed in the NFC, I think you get there. That's fine. And truthfully, as much as we shit on the Patriots and they lost again today, they've lost 2 in a row. But Belichick doing it with a defense that came together second half of the season and a rookie. You got to give him credit. Like Belichick was probably always a good coach. The whole hey, it was Brady not Bill thing was overblown for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think anyone realistically thought that, did they?
Blowhard talking heads were doing it. And this is the other part. Like Reich is getting no play. I don't think. The Colts would need to win the division, end up in the 2 seed, I think, for him to have serious. But he just doesn't have any steam behind his name right now.
Yeah, if they don't win the division, I don't think he gets it.
If you win the division with what Carson Wentz was supposed to be coming into the season, I mean, a cast off, a true cast off, and against a team that was, what were the Titans at one point? Like, how far ahead of the Colts were they when everybody climbed on that bet? I think they had like a 3-game lead.
Well, they beat them head to head.
Yeah, they beat them twice head to head. Yeah,
the second time, I think at that point the Titans were 8-2, 7-2, and the Colts were like 3-6. It was a huge lopsided disadvantage at that point. Colts lose to the Titans in overtime. They dropped to 3-5.
Yeah, that overtime loss was rough.
And that took the Titans up to 6-2. Ultimately, they peaked at 8-2.
And this is the problem. Like, if Belichick, is it enough to make the playoffs with a rookie quarterback and overperform on a season? Like, if you end up losing your division, that's tough. I don't know if the Wentz hate is out of control. Wentz still has just been off the charts lucky with his interceptable passes. Like, it's been. I want to give Reich the credit for kind of just tempering down what they're letting him do, and I think that's really a good mark in the Reich book, as far as like, hey, we see the problem that's almost manifesting itself every week with Wentz throwing these, I don't even want to say 50-50 balls. Like, when he gets pressure on him or he has to make a hot read, he throws some real shitty balls. He should have 10 more interceptions than he does. And somehow that they just have fought their way through that. And then you've seen it over the last few weeks. Like, I think what Reich has done has been real nice for limiting some of that. And that's why that's why I think the Colts are scary. I think that like Reich has them, like I said about Arians, like, hey, here's what we're really good at. Let's accentuate that. It's like what we saw with Lamar's MVP season. What's the guy's name? Roman and Harbaugh.
Greg Roman, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's just let him do exactly what he's really good at. And I don't care if no other team is doing it this way. And we let him run the ball way more than any NFL team really has. And look at us, we're in the playoffs. They end up losing the Titans, and playoffs are tough. But like, when you take what you're good at and make it a bigger part of the game plan, stupid as that sounds, there's just teams that don't do that. It is silly. And yes, for the Wentz hate, a lot of the Wentz hate came from, hey, they shouldn't be playing him. He's very hurt right now. Like, that guy was messed up. His legs were screwed up badly.
Yeah.
We are plus 1.1 units by not betting the second half.
Let's wrap it up here.
I'm gonna go to
gotta
bed.
give your Bulls credit though. They're gonna hold on here and get a win versus the Pacers. All they do is win. Just keep on marching to the top of the Eastern Conference standings. Cleveland Cavaliers, 144 points tonight against the G League Raptors. Absolute throttling offensive performance by the Cleveland Cavaliers. That team is still underrated by the market, which is amazing. Lakers still overrated by the market, which is amazing.
I do want to see this. Like, has anyone seen? I'm watching the broadcast, but has anybody seen Cooper Rush?
Warming up?
Anyone warming up? Like, are they going to trot Dak out here up 5 touchdowns?
They haven't shown him. I mean, I haven't seen it. I wasn't really paying close attention to.
Yeah.
God, dude, they're up 5 touchdowns. Yeah.
God, fuck the Pacers.
This
And
is
this is
an
the thing.
interesting
Like
question.
people have to watch these games for fantasy. Like tomorrow too, and tomorrow might be a better game, but there's a decent
What's
chance
the
that Miami just fucking
downgrade?
throttles them because the Saints have nobody left. Although point of emphasis for the Saints over his career, and it's been not maybe to this extreme, but Sean Payton's been pretty good about putting together a game plan when he's been missing players. I think it's been. Oh, did you want that one back up there? The
Oh no,
Karatsev
you
one.
can no.
Rublev to Karatsev for the second
Karatsev.
singles and just pull it. I say Karatsev. I like carrots.
Karatsev. I gotta pull up who's in Group D. I would not
Ian
have
Book.
tagged. I would not have tagged Poland as the likely winner in there. It's Argentina, Georgia, Greece, Poland. Oof, that's a rough foursome.
Yeah.
The Greek squad is probably Tsitsipas less because of his surgery, but let me see here. Yeah, it's dealt. It's oh no, he's tagged to play Hubie.
Hubie. Hubie Hurkacz. It is Dak, and he's handing off. Thank God. Keep him healthy.
I think Poland to win Group D is awesome at a solid price. What kind of price can you find?
Joker is going to get a medical exemption to not get the vax, and they legally don't have to tell anyone what the
Exemption is
what the
for.
exemption's for. So he could, like, who knows what's going on behind the scenes there. John Isner. Does he play for Georgia? Different Georgia. Dan knows this. He's just being
Rublev. The downgrade from
the
downgrade from Karatsev, from Rublev to Karatsev, is not very much on this surface. Russia is still going to be the team to beat in this format, from what I can tell you.
It's going to be funny when this is like a 0-point second half.
I mean, funny, haha, or funny, uh-oh?
Funny, like, hey, I'm glad I didn't watch this game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's call it. All right, man.
Let's let you East Coasters get to bed.
Yep. I will catch you for Dolphins Saints mañana.
Dolphins Saints, I think so. All right. See you.